Well, I think there's a lot of apprehension on the part of workers due to the difficulty in the transition to EVs and the uncertainty about the market, generally speaking. Its market has softened. China is obviously eclipsing many other companies.
Carlos Tavares has just ruined everything for Stellantis, and brands like Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler are facing major challenges right now. In fact, it might even spell the end for these iconic automotive names. But this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Stellantis, the parent company behind these brands. So what exactly went wrong, and what does this mean for the car industry? What's happening? The troubles hitting Stellantis are sending shockwaves through the entire auto industry. This isn't just about one company stumbling. It's a sign of a much bigger shift in the car market. And guess who's gonna feel the pinch? Yep, us regular folks looking to buy a new set of wheels. Here's the kicker. This mess has been brewing since the pandemic hit. New car sales are still playing catch up to pre-pandemic levels, even as the world tries to get back on its feet. The automotive world just can't seem to find its groove, and Stellantis is feeling the heat more than most. For Stellantis, this couldn't have come at a worse time. They're still figuring out how to walk after that massive merger that created the company. See, the problems facing Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Chrysler go way beyond a few slip-ups. We're talking internal drama, head-scratching decisions, and a whole lot of confusion. It is not just about making a few wrong turns. These iconic brands might be driving off a cliff, and the brakes seem to be failing. Can Stellantis pull off a miracle comeback? Or are we watching the final lapse for some of America's most beloved car brands? Well, the numbers tell the whole picture. But before we get into that, subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss out. Death of a giant. Sales figures for Stellantis brands are pretty concerning. It's a sharp decline. Over the last 5 years, Jeep, Dodge, and Chrysler have faced a staggering 39% drop in sales. Even more alarming is Dodge, which has seen its sales plunge by an eye-popping 67% since its peak in 2013. Jeep isn't doing much better either, with a drop of 44% from its peak in 2018, only managing to sell 642,924 vehicles in 2023. Can you imagine? That is the lowest sales number they've recorded in over a decade. These sales struggles are having serious consequences. Dealerships are feeling the heat as consumers shift their focus to more attractive options. The buzz around new vehicle launches is fading, leaving potential buyers feeling uninspired and less engaged. And let's get real about inventory. Stellantis is currently facing a massive stockpile of unsold vehicles. As of March 2024, reports indicate they had 1.4 million new vehicles just sitting in inventory. That's a huge problem. So what led to this oversized inventory? It started with production tweaks made after running into supply chain issues. At first, they ramped up production to create a buffer of inventory, but as demand shifted and sales declined, they ended up with way too many cars that are now difficult to offload. To make matters worse, a lot of these vehicles are older models. They've fallen out of favor with today's consumers, especially in competitive segments like mid-size SUVs. Consequently, Stellantis brands are showing some worrying high days supply numbers, meaning cars are languishing on dealer lots longer than is typical in the industry. You might be asking how they ended up in this predicament. Well, it's a mix of poorly calculated strategies, changing market dynamics, and honestly, a lack of solid support from the manufacturer. Let's break this down further to understand how Stellantis landed here. The Stellantis National Dealer Council is raising alarm bells, and they're landing the blame at the feet of CEO Carlo Tavares. Their main issue? They're accusing him of prioritizing short-term decision-making, which they believe is a key reason behind the dip in both market share and dealer revenue. This is a big deal, so why is that? What's the reason? Well, in a letter dated September 10 of 2024, the Dealer Council was quite direct. They pointed out that Tavares' strategies seem to chase quick financial gains rather than sustainable growth. Sure, his approach might have fattened profits, enough to boost his paycheck significantly, but dealers are feeling the pinch. They argue that this short-sighted approach is damaging brand value and market share. And the council's warning, they fear this could lead to serious trouble. And spoiler alert, they think those concerns are already playing out. Worse still, dealers are feeling increasingly abandoned as they face these escalating challenges, all without the support they urgently need from Stellantis. The council criticized the company's recent cuts to marketing budgets and changes to compensation policies, which they claim are eroding dealer profitability. As a result, many dealers are left with a mountain of unsold vehicles taking up lot space, a recipe for financial financial stress and growing frustration within the dealer network. Now, let's dive into the consequences. The council highlighted that Tavares' cost-cutting tactics, while intended to improve profits, are actually backfiring. For instance, tying dealer compensation to vehicle shipments rather than actual sales leaves many dealers in a tight spot financially. On top of that, layoffs and plant closures are stoking concerns about the long-term viability of Stellantis' operations in North America. So what's really happening behind the scenes? Let's unpack it. Their main challenges funnel down to 3 fundamental issues. Let me break it down for you. Pricing strategy. This is the first thing you need to understand about Stellantis. Rising prices amid low sales. What's Stellantis really dealing with here? I mean, sales figures are slipping fast, especially for Jeep, which took a 9% hit, and Ram plummeting by a whopping 20%. To keep those profit margins steady, Stellantis has decided to hike up vehicle prices. Sounds smart, right? But wait, it might be backfiring big time. So what's the fallout? Affordability is becoming a major worry. Higher prices are turning potential buyers away, especially now when wallets are tighter than ever. With interest rates climbing and economic uncertainties looming, people are getting choosy about where they spend their hard-earned money. Who wants to pay more for a car that might not deliver on its promises for performance or features? Now, let's zoom in on the inventory chaos. The combo of rising prices and dropping sales has led to a massive buildup of unsold vehicles. As of March 2024, Stellantis reported a jaw-dropping 1.4 million vehicles just sitting in inventory. That's way more than the industry typically sees. This surplus complicates things even further, as dealers struggle to sell cars that are not only becoming outdated, but also come with price tags many shoppers aren't willing to meet. Imagine dealers stuck holding the bag, trying to move cars that aren't matching what buyers are looking for right now. With prices soaring and sales sinking, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Can Stellantis pivot quickly enough to regain momentum, or are they steering straight into an even bigger mess? What do you think about this pricing strategy? And let's talk about the second factor here. Incentive strategies. You see, Stellantis is trailing behind competitors in the incentive game, and that's a major issue. While other car makers are boosting their discounts and financing deals to drive sales, Stellantis is holding back with limited promotions. This leaves their dealers in a tough spot, feeling stranded in a competitive market. So, what's the deal for these dealers? They're under intense pressure. Financial stress is mounting as unsellable inventory piles up. Combine that with lacking support from Stellantis, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Many dealers are struggling with the costs of holding onto unsold stock, risking significant losses. Just imagine the frustration of seeing your inventory gather dust day after day. But wait, there's more. A rising chorus is demanding more support from Stellantis. The National Dealer Council isn't holding back. They're pushing for enhanced incentive programs. Why? To help clear out excess inventory and give dealers a fighting chance in this challenging market. If Stellantis doesn't amp up its incentives, dealers fear unsold vehicles will keep stacking up, further hurting their profits. It's a shaky situation, and it's obvious that Stellantis needs to make a change to help their dealers get back on solid ground. But what's the third challenge? Strategic miscalculations. Ready for a wild ride in Stellantis' engine game? They've just switched gears from traditional engines to the brand new Hurricane Twin Turbo Inline-6 engine. Imagine swapping out the beloved V8 engines in several models for something sleeker. This Hurricane engine promises better fuel economy and lower emissions, all while keeping the power levels as impressive as the original weights. Sounds awesome, right? But hang on, it hasn't been smooth sailing. Both dealers and consumers are firing back with some serious critiques. Die-hard Dodge and Ram fans, who have always adored the raw power and performance of their V8 engines, are now a bit wary of this switch to turbocharged 6-cylinder engines. They're worried that these changes might take away from the thrilling driving experience they've come to love. After all, Dodge or Ram without that muscle and power just doesn't have the same swagger. The Hurricane engine isn't just a random tweak, it's a key player in Stellantis' grand plan to boost fuel efficiency and cut down carbon emissions. But here's the hitch. Will consumers roll with the new tech, or will they hanker after the nostalgic roar of the old V8s? It's a tough call in a market that still values traditional engine performance. And then there's there's the classic debate, performance versus efficiency. The Hurricane engine aims to hit that sweet spot with two low inertia turbochargers for lightning fast throttle response and advanced fuel injection systems to maximize efficiency. But despite these cool upgrades, some critics argue that this shift might turn away buyers who are loyal to the traditional V8 vibe. This tension is hitting sales hard as potential buyers weigh their options against competitors still rocking those powerful, robust V8s. How is this affecting Stellantis? Well, why don't I just show the effects on each of their brands? Let's dissect them together. Ram trucks. Ram truck pricing has become a real head-scratcher for shoppers lately, with some of the most popular models being phased out and prices climbing thanks to high-tech features. Potential buyers are left scratching their heads. So let's dig into the recent twists in Ram truck pricing and what they mean for you as a shopper today. One big change is the discontinuation of the Ram 1500 Classic. This truck used to be a go-to for those wanting a sturdy pickup without emptying their wallets. Now, with the Classic off the market, buyers are looking at the 2025 Ram 1500, which has a starting price of $42,270. That's quite the jump from the $40,700 you would have paid for the Classic. For those trying to stick to a budget, this sudden rise in price makes finding an affordable Ram option a serious challenge. Without the Classic, many shoppers are left wondering about their options. As starting prices soar and there are no cheaper choices in sight, it's no surprise that some folks might start eyeing brands like Ford or Chevrolet, which still have more wallet-friendly alternatives. Now, while the latest Ram models are decked out with some seriously impressive tech that boosts comfort and functionality, it comes at a cost, literally. Take the luxurious tungsten model, for instance. It can soar to around $99,070, which is out of reach for a lot of buyers. With prices on the rise and Ram seeing a noticeable 20% drop in sales recently, it's clear that this is weighing heavy on consumers' minds. As inflation continues to be a worry, many potential buyers might think twice before splurging on a pricier ride or start hunting for better deals somewhere else. This steep pricing might inadvertently nudge buyers toward competitors who offer more budget-friendly trucks. In this cutthroat truck market, it is crucial for Ram to rethink its pricing game plan. Making sure there are affordable options available could be the key to keeping loyal customers around while attracting new ones too. If Ram can tackle concerns about pricing and accessibility head-on, it has a real shot at keeping its customer base happy and appealing to price-conscious shoppers navigating today's market. But what about Jeep? Think Jeep Wranglers are getting too pricey? With costs climbing and used models popping up everywhere, Jeep's top spot might be slipping. Let's dive into this shifting scene. We've seen some jaw-dropping price hikes lately. Just look at the 2024 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Prices for this beast can shoot past $85,000. And when you start adding all those awesome features and upgrades, some versions are inching closer to a staggering $100,000. So what's fueling these skyrocketing costs? There are a couple of big reasons here. First, the latest models are packed with cutting-edge technology and features aimed at boosting performance and safety. Sure, these upgrades make driving more enjoyable, but they also push the price up significantly. Then there is the market vibe to consider. The car world has been grappling with overall price jumps due to inflation and persistent supply chain hiccups that are driving up production costs. As manufacturers navigate these economic challenges, it's the consumers who end up feeling the squeeze with higher vehicle prices. So how are buyers reacting to these hefty price hikes? It turns out many are questioning whether splurging on a brand new Wrangler is worth it at these elevated prices, especially when they can browse the market and find similar options from competitors that are easier on the wallet. Shifting gears, let's explore the rising charm of used Jeep Wranglers as budget-friendly alternatives. With new Jeep prices spiraling upward, savvy shoppers are turning to the used market as a more appealing option. Prices for used Jeep Wranglers vary widely. Some older models can be snagged for as low as $3,999, while nearly new versions like the 2021 Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon 392 can go for around $63,494. This broad range lets buyers find something that fits their budget while still enjoying that classic Jeep feel. One major draw for used Wranglers is their exceptional value retention. Wranglers are famous for holding building their value well over time, making these pre-owned models a fantastic choice for those seeking a reliable vehicle without the hefty price tag of new ones. Plus, the used market is bursting with a variety of trims and configurations, allowing buyers to pick exactly what features matter most to them, whether it's off-road prowess or everyday practicality. Let's not overlook the crucial financial benefits. Choosing a used Jeep Wrangler can significantly lighten the financial load for buyers. As new model prices climb higher, many find that going for a used vehicle lets them enjoy similar features and performance without stretching their budgets too thin. So what's the impact of all this on Jeep is competitive edge. Those rising prices are beginning to shake Jeep's standing in the car market. As potential buyers weigh their options, they might be tempted to explore other brands offering comparable features at more attractive price points. Competition is heating up, especially with brands like Ford and Toyota stepping up to provide strong alternatives in the SUV game, often starting at lower prices. If Jeep can't effectively address concerns about affordability, they might experience a dip in sales that could hurt them in the long run. Dodge. Dodge is currently grappling with significant challenges concerning its inventory and product strategy, leading to serious repercussions for its overall performance and its relationships with dealers. Let's explore the complex situation that Dodge is navigating, particularly focusing on the major hurdles affecting the brand's standing in the automotive market. One of the key issues is the excessive inventory linked to the Dodge Hornet. This compact vehicle was once seen as a promising addition to the Dodge family, but it has now earned an unfortunate reputation for being one of the least popular cars in the market. As of June 2024, reports indicated that there was an astonishing 550 days supply of Hornets sitting idle on dealer lots. Such a surplus signals a stark failure to keep pace with consumer demand, leading to unwanted stock that dealers are forced to manage. Compounding this problem is the fierce competition within the compact SUV segment. With a plethora of alternatives available to consumers, many of which offer better value for their money, the Dodge Hornet struggles to carve out its niche. Customers today are presented with an array of options, leaving the Hornet at a disadvantage when compared to competitors who provide more attractive features or pricing. Examining the sales figures reveals just how critical the situation is for Dodge. Over the last 45 days, Dodge managed to sell only approximately 1,283 Hornet units. This dismal performance underlines a disconnect between what Dodge is pitching and what customers truly desire. Consequently, dealers are saddled with an overwhelming number of unsold vehicles, facing financial burdens due to costs incurred from holding onto inventory that does not sell. This predicament puts dealers in a challenging position as they attempt to move stock that potential buyers seem uninterested in. Adding another layer to the complexity, Dodge is amid a significant transition toward electrification. While this move ostensibly aligns with wider industry trends prioritizing sustainability and emissions reduction, the reality is far more nuanced. Many loyal Dodge fans are expressing mixed feelings about this shift, particularly concerning the brands and models they have come to love. Dodge is replacing iconic vehicles like the Charger and Challenger with electrified versions, such as the Dodge Charger Daytona SRT. The fear is that this transition may overshadow the very essence that made these muscle cars popular in the first place: their roaring engines, raw power, and unparalleled driving experience. In addition to this, it is essential to consider that consumers still have a robust demand for traditional muscle cars. Dodge is currently overlooking this significant segment of the market. The discontinuation of popular models has left many loyal customers feeling neglected, with their beloved vehicles removed without adequate substitutes on offer. This strategy not only alienates longtime fans, but also risks damaging Dodge's reputation as a brand that genuinely values and listens to its dedicated clientele. The frustration from dealerships regarding Dodge's product strategy cannot be understated. Dealers have been vocal about their concerns, highlighting a disconnect between corporate initiatives and the realities they face in a competitive market. They struggle to satisfy customer demands due to insufficient desirable inventory. The gap between manufacturing outputs and dealer needs is leading to declining sales performance, creating a frustrating experience for those directly selling Dodge vehicles. Most dealers report feeling like they are stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to support corporate directives that don't resonate with what their customers are actively seeking. Moreover, the inventory surplus issue goes beyond minor annoyances. It represents a fundamental problem with Dodge, its production process and distribution strategy. 550 days worth of Hornets accumulating on dealer lots signals deep-rooted inefficiencies in how the company is addressing and reacting to market demands. This overflow indicates an overproduction that falls short of market absorption, leading to unnecessary resource wastage and added costs. As Dodge moves forward with its electrification initiatives, the challenge remains significant. Transitioning to electric vehicles is vital for the company to preserve relevancy in today's automotive market. However, achieving this while maintaining the brand's core identity is critical. It requires careful management to ensure that Dodge does not lose that memorable driving experience that has historically set it apart from competitors. The projected Dodge Charger Daytona SRT aims to uphold some performance attributes that fans adore, yet whether it can replicate the thrilling experience of its predecessors remains uncertain. Chrysler is sailing through some pretty rough seas these days. The brand is seeing a notable drop, mainly because its vehicle lineup is super limited and it is having a tough time keeping up in the fast-changing car market. Can you believe Chrysler now only offers two models, the Chrysler 300 sedan and the Pacifica minivan? This worrying drop has everyone asking tough questions about Chrysler's future. Let's dive into that limited lineup first. Right now, Chrysler's offerings are just the 300 and Pacifica. Seriously, that lack of variety not only restricts what customers can choose from, but also puts Chrysler way behind competitors who have a much wider range of vehicles. Think about how popular SUVs and crossovers have become. They're dominating the market. The car scene has changed big time, and traditional sedans like the Chrysler 300 are finding it hard to stay in the game. Sure, the Pacifica is still doing alright in the minivan world, but sales aren't strong enough to keep the whole brand going on its own. Now, let's talk about pricing, because it's becoming a hot topic among buyers. Chrysler's remaining models are starting to seem a bit overpriced compared to other brands. Take the Pacifica, for example. It's praised for its family-friendly design and features, but a lot of people are checking out alternatives like the Honda Odyssey and Toyota Sienna, which are often viewed as more affordable. This pricing strategy is making it really hard for Chrysler to draw in those budget-conscious shoppers who have plenty of other options that are easier on the wallet. On the behind-the-scenes front, there's a worrying trend, a lack of action on ideas to revive the company. Reports show that efforts to inject new life into the Chrysler brand have been ignored by Stellantis management. This signals a troubling absence of a clear plan for the future. Industry experts and insiders are buzzing with ideas on how to refresh Chrysler's lineup, from jumping into electric vehicles to launching new models that match what today's consumers want. Stellantis CEO Carlo Tavares has said that brand strategy decisions will focus on performance numbers instead of emotional ties to long-standing brands. While this practical approach might have its benefits, it raises serious worries about Chrysler's long-term future, especially as it competes for resources within a large portfolio that includes many brands. So what does this mean for Chrysler's edge in the market? The mix of a narrow product lineup and high prices is really eating into its position in an increasingly crowded car market. As consumers move towards brands that offer more variety and better prices, Chrysler risks slipping into the background. Looking ahead, the current path suggests that without some major changes, Chrysler could see even bigger drops in both sales and its standing in the market. Analysts are guessing that if Stellantis keeps overlooking Chrysler's potential for a comeback, we might end up seeing this brand disappear entirely. But what's your thoughts on this? Let's know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.